Alright, hello everyone, it's I, Wakiyame What If here. I hope you guys are going to enjoy this. It's part 1 of What If Deku had a Monster Creation Quirk. And I'm sorry I haven't been uploading, like really consistently. It's because I'm moving and stuff, so it might take a while to get back on track. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into this. Alright, so Midoriya, he's recalling what happened with the trash guy. And he hopes he can see him again one day. But he's driven out of this because Azumi and Azumi's friends, Bakugo, Katsuki, and some other background characters, they are hatching some plans. And this has only been a day after he was talked to by the garbage guy. And, well, they hatched some plans. And he's having a whole happy week. He's been cheerful, which freaked people out because he's usually in despair, agony. They're not used to this cheerful smile on his face. And it pisses a lot of people off. Except for his parents, because they realized neglecting him was wrong. That they did it unconsciously, was their excuse. But they continued to do it. They felt bad for it, but they just forget him each time. And Midoriya just got used to it. He didn't have his parents' love or anyone else's, but hey, at least he has at least he had one person that cared for him. The garbage guy, because he hanged out with him. Hanged out with him for a good bit. And he learned some stuff about him. Like that he has a son that he wasn't able to get in contact with because he, well, did some things. This made him very sad. But Midoriya was always there to cheer him up. They hung out a lot when he was a kid. Until one fateful day. Midoriya was walking to his little elementary school. Bakugo, Azumi, and them were jumping him on his way because they figured, let's go ahead and beat down the quirkless guy. They do it every day, but this was different. Bakugo punched him with an explosion so hard that he flew into the street, and there was a truck coming by. And the garbage guy was there. He saw what happened. And he noticed that it was too late. So with his quirk, he decided, I'm going to go ahead and get him out of there. That's all he was thinking of. So he used his quirk, which allowed him to swap places. So Midoriya was placed on the opposite side of the street, across from Bakugo and them. Which Bakugo and them had wide eyes when they just realized what was happening. And then the garbage guy just got ran over. His body was torn in half by the truck, and the truck kept on going. And Midoriya saw this, and he was traumatized. The rest of them were, but he was even more traumatized. This is the one man he's been hanging out with for almost months now. And feels like he's getting to know better than his own parents nowadays. He really just considers him as an uncle, honestly. And he runs up to him while he's fading. He's starting to close his eyes, but you can hear a child crying. He looks up and he sees it's Midoriya, or Izuku. Because Izuku does not like being called a Midoriya, or a Yagi, either of them. And, well, the trash guy just put up his hand, was trying to calm down the young kid, even though he's the one dying. But he's still trying to calm him down. Because he knows that kids shouldn't be seeing this at his age. Especially one that was as mentally damaged as he is. Because the trash guy already knows the mental damage that being neglected can do. Being unwanted, uncared for, made fun of because you're different. And he felt bad for Midoriya. So he just patted him on the head. This calmed Midoriya down a little bit until he heard a thump. And the hand was off of Midoriya and it fell to the ground. And Midoriya looked into his eyes and they became dull until they were completely lifeless. And Midoriya wailed, clung onto the body, and cried as hard as possible. It made him super mad. Like nothing. Can he have anything? He screamed this on the top of his lungs. And he was in such anger and such emotional pain, he didn't notice that, well, Bakugo, Azumi, and, well, their friends were walking up closer to him, and Izumi was going to console him because the reason why she wanted to like bully him in the first place was because, well, he still had the idea of being a hero. Which being a hero while being quirkless, she knows it's not possible, is what she thinks. And she really just doesn't want her brother gaining, like, this mindset that he could save people. Because she knows that even if he's not a hero, he's going to try to save someone. And he's probably going to die, and they're going to receive that actual call. Or she is, and she's going to be devastated. So that's the reason why she's doing this. But she doesn't really count about Izuku's feelings. So when she walks up, she's thinking about consoling him, but she also thinks, with a devilish smile on the outside, that maybe this might be the push to make him not want to be a hero. And she says this exact line: "This all happened because of you. If you wouldn't have allowed yourself to be so weak that Bakugo flew into the street like that, then he wouldn't have had to sacrifice his life for someone like you. How do you think you can become a hero if you had to have someone sacrifice themselves for you? If you couldn't save them, but they had to save you, and you're still aspiring to be a hero?" And they're very young. They're around 4 still. No changes. It's around 4 still, because it's only been like a month or so. And this makes Midoriya snap on the inside. He's snapping because he was already shattering on the inside. But no, this made him completely break all hell loose. He looked at Izumi with such fury, such rage, such overwhelming hatred. And he just walked up to her, spat in her face, and punched her across the jaw. And when she was on the ground, he continuously started wailing on her. And Bakugo pulled Midoriya off and started beating the shit out of him with his friends in front of the corpse. Which no one really paid mind to the kids. But when they saw the corpse, they had the police take him away. Midoriya wanted to see the body one last time, but he's being jumped. And Midoriya is in even more anger, rage, depression, that after he gets jumped, he's just completely emotionless still, and just has no facial expression change. He just gets up. Izumi's looking at Midoriya's eyes, and his eyes are completely hollow. They're not the eyes of a human anymore. They're completely dark, filled with sadness, despair, and she's wondering, did I cause this? But she just thinks in her mind, no. There's no way he'll become a hero after this. There's no way. Izuku will be safe. We can have one good, happy, fat family. And Midoriya just goes home with Izumi, not staring at Izumi, not giving her the light of day, which she's very furious about this, so she continuously punches him to catch his attention. But Midoriya doesn't even flinch anymore. He just takes it and continues walking. And she notices that this is more serious than I thought. Because for kids, they're pretty smart, but Midoriya is even smarter. So when he gets home, he sees that they're still neglecting him, and they run up and hug Izumi, saying, "We heard that you saw an accident. You shouldn't see that at such a young age, Izumi. What would happen if you got hurt? Are you okay? Were you the one that fell on the road?" And she said, "No, that was my..." And they still keep on hugging her. They're worrying about her. They're giving her smooches. They're lifting her up. And they're basically just very caring for her in front of Midoriya. And Midoriya's just had enough of this. He just quietly goes to his room, starts packing up his stuff, and he tries to leave. But once he goes back downstairs with just his stuff, Izumi sees him, and so does Toshinori. Toshinori was watching TV on the couch, doesn't notice him. But, Izumi notices him. And she notices he's heading towards the door with a backpack full of supplies and stuff. And she's not exactly as smart as Midoriya, but she can tell what he's about to do. And she doesn't want him to leave. She just wanted a happy family. But Midoriya can already piece together a happy family with this type of family isn't going to exist. He thinks this as he's walking away. Azumi's tugging onto him, and he just merely slaps the shit out of her when he just turns around and backslaps her into the ground and just says, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to make it to where I feel hopeless, can't do anything. You're trying to make it to where my self-esteem goes low. You're trying to make it to where I hate myself. I hate everything around me. Well, fucking work. I don't like any of you. I hate you. I despise you. I hate my mom, my supposed mom and dad. That trash guy that just died. Rick was the closest thing I had to a damn father or a parental figure in a month. And he shouts this out. And Toshinori looks behind him and sees that Midoriya is heading towards a door. And Toshinori just goes into his buff form. Not his buff form, but uses some of one for all in his skeleton form. And rushes towards where Midoriya is and grabs him and saying, not leaving anywhere. Midoriya just looks at Toshinori with spite and hatred. And he just spits venomous words out. And he says, wow, so now you care for me. When I'm about to leave, you care for me. It's because of your image? I don't think Azumi here managed to find out. But I know who you are. All Might. The #1 hero. What would happen if they found out that you neglected your son? If you don't let me leave, I will tell everyone about what you did. And what you continuously do. And All Might, not one to want this to happen, doesn't let go. He just neck chops him. And he takes him away out of the room. And Izumi's wondering where All Might's, where Toshinori's taking him. And is the fact that he's All Might true? She has so many questions in her head. But he just walks off and she has to go to bed because her mom forces her to. He walks to this shady doctor and says, hi there, Jake. Dr. Jake, I need you to use your quirk. And he's like, wait, on this kid? He's like, this is my kid. The thing is, I've done some things I'm not really proud of, and I prefer him not saying what happens. And, well, he obliges because he's the #1 hero. And because if he helps the #1 hero, he can get a favor. So Jake does it, no questions asked. And Midoriya wakes up the next day and he's in his bed. And he gets up, very depressed, eyes still lifeless, and he walks out of his room after getting dressed. And he was trying to pack up his stuff again, but he couldn't because now Toshinori is watching his every movement. So he couldn't leave if he wanted to now. And he's thinking this is all because of that damn Azumi. And he walks out of the room. Azumi was outside of his door trying to check up on him. And once he opens the door and sees her, he scowls. He just looks at her with disgust, like something that you would just step on and just look at your boot and notice, oh, bug guts. Disgusting. That's what he looks at her like. And he walks down the stairs. And Toshinori looks at him and feels genuinely bad. And is trying to reconcile with his mistake, but Midoriya just isn't hearing it. He doesn't even go for breakfast, even though it's already made, and Inko made one for him this time. Because for a whole month, Midoriya had to go through trash bins to eat stuff in trash cans outside of restaurants and get severely beaten because of it. And be in a police station multiple times, and his parents wouldn't show up. Because they kind of forgot he existed at times. Midoriya just walked out, and he just, right when he walked out, he started walking to his school, and he was not cheerful at all. Everyone noticed this, his 180 change. his depressed aura, this dark aura around him that says, "Get away from me. You all make me sick." That's the aura he's giving off when he walks in the classroom. Even the teacher's trying to stay away from him. And there's this one kid in class that looks at him and says, "Oh my god, his emo aura, it's over 9,000." Alright, I had to do one joke, okay. I'm sorry. Back to serious atmosphere. Alright, so Bakugo sees this and is thinking in his mind, there's no way he'll be a hero now. But just to make sure, he gets his goons and he consistently beats Midoriya over and over. Each and every day, this repeated cycle, and Uzumi joining in, and them neglecting him still, happens all the way until canon, middle school. The thing is, there was a certain event that, well, you're gonna have to learn later. And there's a story that happened. So whenever Midoriya walks into middle school, a lot of people are scared of him. It's because of a certain thing that appeared. But they don't know what it is. Because, well, Midoriya is quirkless. And they don't know what Bakugo and Bakugo's goons saw that day. But one day, flashback, when Midoriya was walking to school, it was the first day of middle school. When he was walking in, well, Kacchan and his goons decided, let's go ahead and beat Midoriya up like how we normally do. But the thing is, Midoriya was walking back home. It was the end of the day, he was walking back home. But he took a shortcut through the woods on instinct, because he wanted to avoid Bakugo. But this would have worked awful in his favor. Because Bakugo sees him, so does his goons, and they start chasing him. Midoriya is running through the forest, zooming past the trees as fast as he can, but they're gaining on him. And he sees this old abandoned cabin. He kicks down the door with his little fists and little legs. And, well, he kicks it down slightly, because it was a really old cabin, and he just runs in and he just hides. And he thinks that he's done good because they're searching for like an hour or so, and they start to leave. And Midoriya breathes a sigh of relief because he was hiding in a closet in front of the door, like directly in front of the door in the living room of the cabin. And yeah, they didn't notice him until when he does a sigh of relief. Bakugo didn't leave the whole cabin yet, so he looks back. He sees Midoriya in the closet, but Midoriya does not know that Bakugo sees him. So Bakugo goes in from the back of the cabin, walks beside the actual closet very slowly, and then he puts his head straight towards where the closet door is, and he yanks it open and drags him out. And then he starts viciously beating him with his quirk, punching him in the gut with many explosions coming out, punching him in the face with burn marks going across his face, punching him in the kneecaps, breaking his legs, breaking his bones. And he does this routinely. So this is nothing new to Midoriya. Midoriya at this point can't even feel the pain anymore. But he just doesn't want to have it happen anymore, because he knows it's not healthy for him. And he wants to still become a hero, even though, honestly, people are making it to where he might not want to become one anymore. He's always contemplating this every day. Do I still want to be a hero? The only thing that keeps him going is that one garbage man that saved his life. I mean, if he didn't save his life that day, he would have been a pancake. He would have been flattened. He wouldn't have had a life in the first place. But that might have been better, is what he's thinking while he's being beaten by Bakugo. Because he's been beaten his entire life. He's been called a monster his entire life. He's been called inhuman. And he's thinking all these thoughts. And all of a sudden, he blacks out. And next thing you know, when he wakes up, he sees all of them on the ground, beaten up, bruised. The goons all slammed into each other. All their bones almost looking like it was shredded apart from the inside. them coughing up blood, teeth, and their balls bleeding, and a blood written note on the front of them, carved into their front, into their chests, saying, "I am the monster you fear." And end of flashback. Midoriya just is walking into, well, his middle school, and he already has a feared reputation from that day. Bakugo and his goons got healed. There's no actual long-term damage physically, but mentally there is. Because they don't know what on earth attacked them. And their memory was completely fuzzy. They can't remember anything. And this terrifies them more. Except for Bakugo. Bakugo just doesn't know what happened. It scares him, but he just thinks Midoriya is just a quirkless nobody. And that no one loves or would care about if he ever disappeared. Because through these years, Bakugo has been having an inferiority complex towards Midoriya. Because he was beaten so badly that day. He doesn't know if it was Midoriya or someone else. But he wants to release his anger. And the only one there, aside from his goons, was Midoriya. And we're going to have to find out next time on my next What If Deku had a Monster Creation Quirk Part 2. But I hope you guys enjoyed. And please leave comments saying that you like the series, or just saying, like, is the series good? Do you want me to continue it? Alright, so, goodbye. Have a wonderful day. And, yep, that's all.